Come on.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. This is the Check Engine Podcast, and we're streaming live through Anchor.fm, our home base, or anywhere else that streams awesome podcasts that you want to listen to. My name is Peeves. With me, as per usual, are my two co-hosts, Andrew and Tristan. Guys, it's been a while. It's good to be back in front of the mics for once.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know. I don't even know what's been going on in my life the past
two
weeks.
How long has it been?
I don't know. Everything's been one consistent blur of work. That's all I know.
Yeah, it's been, we just not so long ago put a post up on Facebook, like, scheduling's been super hectic lately. So we apologize for those of you waiting on new content from us. It feels really good to be back in front of this microphone, I will say that.
It always feels good to come back.
And, I mean, Tristan, speaking of scheduling stuff, we had to squeeze this one in on a different day because you're on the front end of a long weekend, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm dying over it.
Why? What's the problem?
This is what happens when I come up with a portmanteau in my head and can't vocalize it, and I tried sending it to you as a text message to save myself, and I couldn't.
I said blur of work, and he texted me in all caps the word blurk. And now he's dying.
Bad things happen, I'm telling you.
We're back again.
No, 2 weeks of weekend traveling and work and school and
I was out of state I was on the East Coast for 4 days for work, and it's been nuts. But we're here, we're back, and because this week's been so hectic, we haven't had a whole lot of time to plan for this one, so it's going to be another open forum episode. Woo! We're just going to talk about shit for a while and see.
These are my favorites, genuinely.
I know.
So yeah, we appreciate you hanging with us. Again, we're going to try to get you some more content soon. We're back, and yeah, we can dive right into this, guys. It's open forum. Whatever comes to mind. What do we want to kick this off with? What do we want to discuss?
I'll start with just bragging about being right.
Okay.
Or continuing
we normally
to be
save
right.
that for our we did it once at an end of season episode.
Yeah, but people need to know. We got to keep people in the loop of our continuing correctness. So, let's see. Autocar headlined a little article here about Volkswagen's new transmission, or their new power unit.
Okay.
The MQ281. Woo. Basically, they've just redesigned their current manual gearbox to be 100% compatible with all of their, now what is that, Tristan? Not MQB, but what's their hybrid platform? M something B. Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyways,
everything is M something B.
Yeah. So they've designed their new manual gearbox to be completely compatible with all of their hybrid drivetrains coming up. So, and that'll be rated right out of the box up to about 250 horsepower, 250 foot-pounds of torque, and presumably that is that's probably what's going to end up in a new Golf, like a hybrid GTI type thing.
Yep, totally.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So,
maybe not up to the maximum power rating in a Jetta, but
no.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But it's just saying, it is from the factory rated up to that. And so I guess the Autocar is claiming it as the rebirth of rowing your own. I've said for a while now that hybrid drivetrains work with manual transmissions. It's not like a mystery. It's not a scam. It can be done. You just have to plan for it. And Volkswagen is, and I couldn't be happier because that's exactly what I want.
Yeah, weren't we talking about that a few episodes back? Just making like finding a car that you want to drive. Give me a hybrid with this kind of
Yeah,
drive configuration with this much horsepower and a
Yep.
manual. Boom, done.
that's it.
Yeah.
And so VW, as they have been sort of chugging towards this mark between Skoda and Seat and a little bit of VW, I guess this really just kind of makes it official that they're aiming at the market where there is currently a gaping hole.
Yeah.
Hybrid, hot hatches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you think
However.
about basically taking, the current supercar platform flavor of the month, which is, these hybrid turbocharged powertrains,
Mhm.
and just like they did with the original GTI, just scale it down and throw it in a hatchback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
I mean,
wouldn't be surprised if VW sees that as their next big,
Yeah.
what do we want to call it? Cultural achievement, their next big monument. Because if they could, maybe using the same nameplate, reinvent this space where there's kind of this jockeying at hybrid drivetrains or alternative fuel solutions for cars that go fast, if they could seal that with something very much like this platform and the technology that they already have and, as Tristan always points out, are legally mandated to improve upon,
Indeed.
then they come out ahead.
Yeah, and I think hybrid in particular is a nice place to start developing things like motors, regenerative braking, for when you then want to or are able to make that move into purely electric, performance cars.
Yeah.
The probably horrendously named GTIE or ETI.
Oh, ETI. Sure.
Yeah.
I can see ETI.
Would be, GTE would be probably what I would guess based on their GTD for the diesel ones, but
Sure.
it's that step to take in the interim, and it makes total sense to me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just so happy to see that. I mean, again, it's like one of those things. Me saying that should be the car of the future. There was no basis in fact. That's just what I personally want.
Well, I mean,
someone's actually
look,
doing that.
hybrids aren't going anywhere. Like,
Oh,
that's
no,
the
no.
thing. Like, and someone like there's no one out there. Well, apparently a lot of people are out there saying that hybrids can't be fun to drive, and Volkswagen's like, no, I think we can make one that is pretty fun to drive.
Yeah. And I
Make it marketable to those diehard, well, quote unquote, diehard car people who are just fossil fuel or bust. You know what I mean?
I always wonder like Genesis for ideas like this. If you would think that VW being such a large manufacturer and having so many resources at their disposal, they didn't really have hybrid cars though until the past couple of years. You know what I mean? They weren't like Toyota where they've had a hybrid line for 20 years.
They weren't pushing them, but they've been around for a while.
Right.
They're the Passat and Jetta and Touareg hybrids, I think.
Really? But then I'm just thinking like something like the CRZ, internationally released, quote unquote hybrid, quote unquote hot hatch. Yeah, I mean it was actually a hybrid. There's nothing quote unquote about that, but
yeah, the hot hatch part is in quotes.
it was quite slow. But then again, they did release the the uprated one with the supercharger, and everyone kind of loved that. The 3 people who got to drive it, all of them being hosts of Old American Top Gear, which no one watched. But I always wonder if VW sees that and goes, "Okay, yeah, no, nice try. Let's do this later, but better."
Let's let everybody else try and fail.
Yeah,
we'll learn from everybody else's mistakes.
Let everyone else proof the concept, right? And CRZs sold off lots. As much as people denigrate them, they sold at least whatever they had. It may have taken a while.
They look good.
And they look great. But I just feel like someone at VW looked at that and was like, "Oh, yeah, go ahead. We'll do it better, but later."
when we feel like it.
Yeah.
We feel like it and the technology's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's interesting.
So good on Volkswagen for bringing some fun to the hybrid segment,
Mm-hmm.
or potentially bringing fun to the hybrid segment.
They're going to do it.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
I think the kind of electric Volkswagen deal is a good segue into something that I found the other day and I had no idea about. I usually consider myself pretty up on Volkswagen terminology and happenings and things like that.
Their technology and happening.
However, apparently I missed an entire segment. Like when you think about Volkswagen, it's like the people who like throw turbos the size of their toddler on a on a Beetle engine, drive it 1,000 miles, and then get another one when it blows up or rebuild it. Like you got like the super turbo Beetle people, you've got the dune buggy Beetle people, you've got the more race serious. They all have APR tunes. You've got Stance Nation is well represented in Volkswagen. You've got the people who just nicely restore old Karmann Gias. I feel like I found a lot of the different pieces of Volkswagen culture.
The Thunder Bunny people.
Yes.
They're their own cult.
Yeah, whether or not I'm part of all of them or any of
people.
them. The bus people.
You can't leave out the bus people.
No.
So there are many different facets of Volkswagen culture. But I found a new one that I had missed. There are people electrifying Beetles.
Old or new or what are we
old
talking?
Ones.
Sure. Okay.
So they're taking that entire space in the back where the engine used to sit. It's a flat engine.
Yeah.
And they're putting battery packs in there. Often Tesla-sourced battery packs.
Sure.
Out of wrecked Teslas or whatever. And then they're just driving around, and they are otherwise like remarkably well maintained or restored classic Beetles.
Sure.
Some of them the Karmann body with the convertible, some of them just regular ones, some of them even have kind of that Baja Bug look where they're lifted with the big tires, but they're not the dune buggy ones.
Yeah.
And so all the kind of classic Beetle collector styles, people have been electrifying them because here's my theory, because the normal Beetle experience is about 9 horsepower and 40 miles an hour.
Right.
So, especially if you're not using super powerful electric motors, you can probably go a really long way at Beetle speeds on electric motors.
That's true, without any noticeable mental anguish.
Right. And I think it's one of the, people have been putting these, wrecked Tesla batteries and motors in like Continentals and giant Fords, and like I saw Eldorado, with Tesla innards. Those are huge. You're gonna go like 9 miles. Electrify a Beetle. I think it actually makes sense. I was kind of struck by it as a hobby. I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be like, don't make it your daily. But
you know what, you say that.
But in certain places,
I was just gonna say that.
But I mean, like I would even do that here, like and just drive it over the summer. Like electrify a Beetle because they don't have air conditioning anyway. They don't have heat anyway, really. So you just drive it as a fun summer car, and I'm struck by it.
I'm
personally.
super into that in the lifted format specifically because I really like that. Anyway.
Why stop there? I mean, you talk about these folks with like dune buggy Beetles just for ripping around in the sand on the weekends. 9 times out of 10, they're towing that vehicle to the campsite or the dunes anyway. Save some space on packing those extra gas cans. Just charge the electric dune buggy up. I guarantee you're not going to put 250 miles in a in a dune weekend. If you talk about range on these things, I can get you through a weekend of dune buggying.
Well, yeah, and I mean, when normally you're not considering like, oh, careful, it's the nice state park campground. You're out camping somewhere in the dunes on your own. Run the generator during the day and charge them.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, even if you do run the shit out of it and you're worried.
Yeah, like you can charge them off a generator if you need to. And you don't have to unload the gas cans. You can leave them at the campsite.
Right.
And electric drivetrains, as long as they're sealed, you're going to run into less sand getting everywhere. You don't have to worry about air filters getting full of sand. That's not a bad idea, Nick.
That sounds like a good weekend, actually.
I'd worry about heat. Lithium-ion batteries overheat.
True.
Yeah. So something maybe to consider, but
true. But I mean, I'm sure some people do, dune buggying in the actual desert. But I think you'd probably be okay in normal temperature ranges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because that was just a thing that floated through my mind. I was like, what if they overheat? But no, I love the idea. And they're already doing. Volkswagen did their cruise down Highway 1 in California. They do every year.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy had a fully electrified bus where he filled the entire floor with batteries. It could go like 1,000 miles. It was like he did the whole drive like on 2 charges. Like he charged it, did half of it, charged it halfway, and like it went so far. So it's happening. what I was kind of hoping would happen with hydrogen, where you're kind of refitting these old cars with hydrogen motors, I would think.
Which is still
But now
possible.
they're-
Well, I mean,
still-
theoretically, it's just
you-
the tank and the
and the
combustion.
heads.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the cylinders would be fine.
right.
Just the injection, not even the heads.
Yeah.
But but I like that it's happening in fun cars where it makes sense, like the Beetle, like the van. So I found out about that and then went way down the rabbit hole, and I was like, "There's a lot of cool stuff going on
So
here."
how much would it cost?
I didn't
Yeah,
go
did we
into
do a cost
costs.
analysis?
I didn't
No?
do that yet because I wanted some commitment from you guys.
No, I think
we're
that's
gonna
great.
do this.
right up here by your house, Andrew. There's a VW like specialty shop.
Yeah, Jim's Bug Shop.
Yeah,
I think it's
yep.
called. Jim's.
I bet you we
Jim?
could. I bet you we
No,
could.
but I know that's shop.
I bet you we could find like a Beetle shell from him at like a cheap price.
He had a VW thing sitting out front.
He did.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
in a like good
condition too.
Yeah, those are fun little cars.
Where they do that at? Where even
Yeah.
a good condition thing?
Don't know, but that was
But I bet you he could get us a good roller.
find one even.
Find one, and
Yeah,
that'd be a
got
good project
connections.
car. Yeah.
So
I was just thinking. All right, so the bugs are somewhat collectible.
Yeah.
Probably a little harder to get your hands on. So what's the car that you would do an electric conversion on that you could actually get that would kind of fit maybe this off-road tendency? Because I feel like that goes together really well.
yeah.
I think that
Well,
somehow
yeah,
I feel like
'cause
that's the move.
Especially like when you look at even what these guys are doing, like at everyone's favorite place to make fun of.
Moab.
Yeah.
Broab.
They're going like 0.8 miles.
Yep.
Like they're not going that far. It's all
Vertically.
It's well, that's actually 8 miles vertically, 0.8 miles horizontally.
Yeah.
But they're doing all this low speed, high torque stuff.
Which is made
Electric
for
would
electric.
be-
Yep.
They love that
Great
shit.
for that. I mean, I'd be curious how that would work out. But
So I guess it's just a matter of weight. But like, if you like, what's the most popular off-roaders? Like
Wranglers.
Wranglers? Could you electrify a Taco?
But that's the thing. That's not
Or
what you
Coma,
want to
depending
get
on which way you
because the aftermarkets on Wranglers and Tacomas and all those cars are super high. So what is a more garbage off-roader or car with off-roading tendencies that you could get and kind of lean this way, in some crazy fever dream with an electric motor?
What about like an old Bronco?
I was thinking, that aftermarket is even crazier.
Those are
Yeah,
super
probably
expensive.
Super expensive now.
What about the Patriot?
Yeah.
The car that everybody fucking hates.
No, you know what's weird about that? Everybody hates the Compass.
Shit, I was getting confused. Shit.
People rave about their freaking Patriots.
It's the
but I
stupid
almost
Compass.
bought
That's
one.
what I meant. God
But,
damn it.
Yeah. But no.
The shitty
Don't
one.
worry, we can cut that part out.
Yeah.
Nah, leave it.
Ooh. Wait. It's even less off-roadable cousin. The Dodge Caliber.
Oh shit! Oh my god! That's really exciting.
Here's our electric dune busting Dodge Caliber.
But see, you would
So
actually
we have to lift it though.
well, yeah.
yeah.
You'd have to lift a Compass,
So that's
to be frank.
that's true. But you would have wait, were those all-wheel drive?
Some of them.
Some of them.
The Calibers were. Yeah, I mean, they were basically the same thing with a different body shell.
I mean,
They
we
were
don't-
front all.
Yeah. Huh. I'm just wondering, like, if you're replacing the motor and like how much of the drivetrain are you replacing when you put an electric motor in a car that used to be gas? I really don't know.
Depends on how you do it. So you can either take up the space where like the half shafts and the drive shaft were and put motors on each wheel,
Mm-hmm.
or you can place a big motor where the engine is and use the transmission
Right.
and everything else that's already in place. But
Because I feel like if you wanted to do off-roading,
generally, not being an electric car person, I don't know nearly enough about that.
no.
I'm gonna have to find out more. But
Well, of course, we're just bullshitting now
yeah,
because it's an interesting topic. But I wonder if the all-wheel drive. I mean, who knows if that drivetrain could even handle it? But with a small enough torque load on that all-wheel drive system, you'd be less likely to overload it. Then you would have that for the off-roading as well. And then you take a hacksaw to the top, and you got a good car.
you got a good car.
Our company has some good hacksaws.
That they do. They definitely do.
I was thinking something even along the lines of like some of the less loved trucks, like
Name one.
like Dodge Dakotas.
even then, also, when did they stop making those? 1812?
I don't know.
I think they're bringing them back, aren't they? I thought I saw a post for a Ram Dakota.
Honestly, Dodge would be dumb if they.
Everybody else has one.
Ram would be dumb if they don't bring back a small
it would be
truck.
the same platform as the Gladiator.
Yep.
Yeah, they got to do that. Make that happen.
What about? I know they stopped making them. What the? I don't know what the aftermarket is like. What about an Xterra?
No, those are wildly expensive.
They're
super mad that everyone's super mad that they stopped making them.
Those have a weird dip. You can get super high mileage ones for relatively cheap,
and it wouldn't matter because we'd be dropping the motor and putting in.
So
I think but most of those are rust buckets.
There is also that part of it. Oh man, it couldn't be something like an all-road huge aftermarket.
No, even maybe what about one of the less loved Grand Cherokee generations, like the one right after mine,
Grand Cherokee, or what about the 4-cylinder old style Ford Rangers?
Maybe the 4-cylinder ones, but those have a weird, deeply disturbed following. Ford Rangers too.
That's true. That's so true. Man,
I was thinking of buying one, and it was so expensive I didn't. And it had the check engine light on.
Well, but I thought the V6s that everyone loved.
Probably.
Man, there's got to be an answer. I don't know. I just think this is so interesting. Because
send us your ideas, listeners. What would you electrify to go off-roading?
Yeah, but even if it's not off-roading, like I really like the electric Beetle summer car idea.
Regardless, it's a really good idea.
Yeah. So.
I'm just trying.
No, I'm stuck on it. I don't know if I want to talk about anything else.
Yeah.
Just storyboard this for the next hour.
If you were gonna do a cool cruising car, what else is super cheap in the aftermarket? But see, if you were doing a street
C4 Corvette,
electric C4.
Listen, that's a good idea.
That's not a bad idea. That's in fact a great idea.
What if not C4? What if C3?
They're still.
Is that starting to go back up? The C3?
No, those are collectors. Yeah.
Collecting that.
C4s are in that sweet spot where nobody wants them.
True.
And C5s are starting to get there.
C5s are getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, but people want the C. Yeah, the C5 I imagined would appreciate again way before the C4. Just based off of what people like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A C4.
I have a weird attraction to the C4 Corvette, so
can't relate. But yeah, if you were going to do a street car as opposed to an off-road car, you would have to have something with street cred. You would want something that people think is cool before you get to the part where you put an electric motor in. Does that make sense?
Because that is, despite how neat or fun it might be, going to make it slightly less cool.
Definitely.
So,
but if you did it yourself and survived, it's also pretty badass. Because those shits will kill you so fast.
I'm trying to think what I would choose.
Old Camaro. No, see, you would want something kind of light too, because you're going to lose. Batteries are heavy.
What about those old Datsuns?
Yeah, that's exactly where my mind went.
Ooh, okay.
Like the one I got you for.
Yeah, the
episode
240.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Especially if it's one that's had it's got a blown motor or a bad transmission or something that's you're not savaging something that should be preserved.
What about some unloved American muscle cars like the Mustang 2, which you
AMC
are wrong,
Javelin?
One. Those okay. When I was a kid,
those have a weird following. Though.
Yeah, I know.
When I was a kid, there were no AMC Javelins,
and they all were made in 1978 last year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, or whenever they were made.
Classic cars does everyone hate?
They're not around anymore. That's the thing. Classic cars everybody hates. They're gone. They're in a junkyard somewhere.
Got scrapped.
Yeah.
What car sucked in the past? Well, every American car sucked in the past, but
what about like the old Fire? Yeah, too heavy. Like the old
Dodge Omni.
That's always Andrew's answer.
If you could find one, it's always my answer now. If you could somehow find one and not just get a simple bucket of rust, then
tap it and it falls apart.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is kind of the issue with that car. That could be interesting at least. And you could name it the GLL.
What about
Go Like Lightning?
What about those old I like that name, by the way. What about the weird generation Mustangs that often show up on drag strips?
Box bodies?
Yeah, I was missing the name. Because those people do like them, but I'm sure you can find them with blown motors and everything else. And it does have that kind of like
An electric drag Fox body Mustang.
yeah. Think about
Put slicks on the back.
That'd be dope.
Think about
That'd be pretty sweet.
putting something similar to like a Model S in ludicrous mode power pack in there, and
Yeah, that'd be sweet too.
it'd be fun.
All right, you know what? Enough of this. We just need to make this an episode now. This is an episode, not this episode.
No,
because we need to do research. But that will be an episode.
We'll come up with some different categories of what would you like to electrify for off-road, street,
drag/track day.
Yeah, yep.
Something that wouldn't be your everyday driver, but you can trailer it somewhere, use it for the weekend, and bring it back home.
Yeah, we'll have to
just got an episode idea.
We'll have to come back. Have to come back to this one.
Definitely, that's going to take some.
Didn't
research.
know we'd go there when I got that interested in it. So.
That's okay. That's what open forum's about.
Exactly.
Here's something that's really dumb.
Moving on.
Speaking of the future,
it's really dumb.
Yes. What if I told you? I mean, we all know Detroit to be the epicenter of all things car, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the center of the whole world. They have all the best car ideas. What if I told you a man named Charles, maybe Nuth,
N-U-T-H?
K-N-U-T-H.
Nuth.
Probably Nuth. He has an idea so fresh that it may change the very face of motoring. Here's Chuck's idea.
Good old Chuck.
So some of us drive to work. A lot of people drive to work, right?
I was say most of us drive to work.
Well, there are also other people who drive to work. So what if, Charles proposes, what if those people, two people who maybe work in the same building in the same area, rode in one car together at the same time? No one's ever had this idea before. You have to remember that.
What are those big parking lots by the freeway for?
No, well, this article I read on Automotive News, this guy in Detroit thinks he invented carpooling, and he created a stupid startup, Scoop Technologies.
Okay.
That sounds like an ice cream company.
His tagline, he says the carpoolers are more satisfied with life than the rest of us, and, relieved of the stress of driving, subphrase, many plan to channel their energy into positive endeavors such as exercise. What is he? What?
Huh?
What? First of all, driving with other people in the car, especially people you work with, and then knowing you'll have to make that same drive all the way back to wherever you pick them up with that same person in the car has got to be some level of purgatory. Am I wrong?
You are a little antisocial.
I'm antisocial, but doesn't that suck? That seems like it would be terrible. Would you want to ride all the way from your house to your job with someone you worked with, whether or not you actually worked with them in the same department, whatever, and then have to drive with that same person all the way back home after?
If I liked the person, I wouldn't mind.
Really? I would mind.
If they're your family.
But you don't. You don't work with your family.
I did. My dad and I did that for like years.
Okay, Tristan doesn't know what he's talking
about. No, I wouldn't mind.
I think it sounds terrible.
You think a lot of these things
If I lived anywhere near Nick,
that's not a surprise.
I'd meet at his house and we could go in because I mean...
Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I think it sounds awful. That's what I think is wrong with it.
Well, we know you don't like people, so driving alone
doesn't surprise me at all.
Sounds better to you. Tell me more about what he's doing to revolutionize the thing he didn't invent, but says he did.
Let me tell you. We are trying to break down some of the barriers of why the average person doesn't carpool today and provide them with a way to do it when they want to be able to do it.
Where people live. You're gonna he's building apartment buildings.
Oh shit, he probably
for people who work in the same company. He's building company housing.
Oh my god. Listen, Scoop Nuth says Scoop is a bridge to the utopian future.
No.
Of smart mobility. Fuck you, Chuck. What are you doing? The utopian this is just motherfuckers driving each other around. What are you talking about? Utopian future.
Free Lyft.
What if
That's
Lyft
really all it is?
But I mean, I don't actually know.
So how's this guy making money?
An app-based service where drivers are paid by riders, naturally his company takes a cut. So it's basically
Uber?
It's Uber Pool.
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the Uber driver is ending up working there.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That is just
instead of a contractor, he's like a scoop employee.
It's Uber Pool where the in-service light is only on during the morning commute and the afternoon commute, and you only accept riders from your company.
What a scam he's running over there, though. Let's be honest.
I mean, if people actually fall for it.
Well, people fall for scams all the time. It doesn't make it less of a scam just because people fall for it. It's still a scam. Guys, you can actually arrange carpools for free if you're a pervert like that.
If you have a phone or mail.
Or a coworker.
Yes. Who lives anywhere near you.
That's right.
To be real, though, I regularly encounter 3 of my coworkers on the freeway on the way to work.
You should carpool with them. You should start an app to carpool with them.
Why can't you just call or text and say, you want to carpool to work?
How would that make Chuck money?
I was gonna say, do you think you're gonna get a utopian future if you don't pay Chuck? Is that really what you think is gonna happen?
I think so.
Chuck is the way to utopia.
Chuck is utopia.
He's messianic.
Chuck is love. Chuck is life. Tristan's favorite video.
I think the title of this episode too.
Chuck is love. Chuck is life.
Anyways, yeah. We see your scam there, Charles.
We see right through it.
We're not falling for it.
Nope.
Speaking of people who refuse to be chill at all, Tesla owners.
I get the next topic because it's related.
Okay, good. Just a quick one because I can't imagine we're going to want to talk about this long.
Maybe.
Well, actually, I guess it's 2. One, there was a guy who bought his Tesla a birthday cupcake and posted the pictures on Twitter. Don't do what you're doing, person, whoever you are.
Buy it a battery or a plug.
Right? You'd think.
It doesn't eat cupcakes.
A useful gift.
I assume the cupcake was from him, which is pretty selfish when you think about it.
I bought my car a birthday cupcake for me.
Right. Seems rude.
It's like buying your dog a birthday chocolate bar.
Buy it some,
it's clearly for you.
Buy it some McGuire's or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Is that how you pronounce that, by the way?
What? I always assumed it was McGuire's.
McGuire's?
Yeah.
How are you saying it?
I wasn't, because I didn't know how to say it.
McGuire's.
McGuire's.
There's the episode title.
McGuire's, like it's Spanish.
You really didn't know how to say that?
Yeah, but I hadn't thought about the other ways to say it until just now.
But let me tell you why I know how to say it.
My brain looked at it and just went, I don't know.
I watched commercials.
Yeah, exactly. They sponsor Meekum.
That says McGuire's.
I don't watch those things unless we're at the hotel.
Yeah, I mean, that is the time, but still. Okay, so that was one guy. Calm down. The second one is way worse. Tesla Model 3 owner has chip-to-start car implanted in her body.
Yes, I heard about that.
Whoa.
Yeah, you got to knock that off, folks. You got to stop that.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah.
Well, where was it implanted?
Arm.
Well, you just...
Well, no, it's the chip. Literally, like she just cut the back of a key fob out.
Yeah, like if you have keyless entry.
Oh.
And, you can walk up and just open the door and get in and push the button. She just had that RFID chip put in her arm.
She's going to be so disappointed when the battery dies.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have a battery?
Have to cut that shit out. I mean, they're all battery powered at some point. There's a signal, an RF signal. So
I know there's like there's manual, like where you can tell it, hey, unlock. But I thought that proximity thing was just a RFID chip. But
I mean, well, I suppose then
it has to transmit a signal somehow.
And the power would come from the car side, though. Basically, it would just be reading the chip.
Right, exactly. That's
which has the passive ID in it.
Yeah, that's like not a car topic, but at Disney World, those bands that they have are long-range passive RFID. They can tell when you're in an area by powering it from the base station.
Right.
So at least that part should work based on the car.
That's a good point. But however, in my version of the story, it's way funnier.
True. I still think it's stupid.
It's really
don't
stupid.
Get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to die on her. I hope it does, but I mean,
I love how you clarified that. I hope
it
does.
But sadly, I don't think it will.
I feel like this just moves way beyond why and into gross. Like there's no possible reasoning for it that's even sensible.
Yeah,
it's just nasty.
We know it was a hassle holding a key fob.
or putting it in your pocket or your purse.
Cut that shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it in you.
Ew.
Efficiency, bro.
There's other places you could put that key.
I was gonna say you don't have to cut your body.
Um,
Mad places to insert noses, ears, mouth hole.
mouth hole. That just calls your mouth.
Oh, well, that's weird. Weird that you call that. No, I just what? Stop doing this. Already stop. There's only one person that I know, but already stop.
Just you. Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some pretty crazy fan bases out there for cars. The VW, we just talked for half hour, whatever it was on the VW culture.
Mm-hmm.
But Tesla owners, man, taking it to a whole nother level.
I always feel like it's the whole question of volume. You know what I mean? It's like the loudest voices in the room. Like we know who those people are. As you get older, you realize who the people who are the loudest, like what their real deal is. And I feel like that's what it is with Tesla owners.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tristan, you said you had a segue.
I've got a Tesla topic too. So,
Is it the guy who repairs roadsters?
Nope.
Okay. So I thought this was an interesting story. He used to be a territory manager for Tesla in 2009, and then he got laid off in 2013. And it basically he's this guy who decided I'm going to be the one who keeps these Tesla Roadsters alive.
The OGs?
Yeah, the
Lotus
Lotus-based ones. Yeah. So nobody you can't get parts from Tesla. You can't officially repair them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of liked.
To be fair, it's hard to officially repair anything from Tesla.
Well, he was building he's making his own body panels,
Yikes.
out of carbon fiber. They sent him a bunch of cease and desist orders because it's Tesla. Just basically Medlock and Sons Tesla and EV service. And basically it's, if something goes wrong, Tesla's not fixing them anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, just how nice of Tesla to see some genuine homegrown dedication to the company from someone who worked there and then stuck with them while they laid him off.
Despite being laid off.
Probably unfairly, if we're being completely honest, because that's the way the company functions.
Yeah.
And still wants to support a car that they don't give a shit about, that they don't support at all, and they just want him to die. It's like, yeah, no, that totally makes sense to me. Either way, that is one hell of a commitment. And
when you're talking about people who can't be chill and just need to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Tesla
in general.
Yeah. So I thought that fit well. But
yeah, it's great. I actually really I can definitely appreciate what he's doing. I think the original Tesla Roadster is actually a pretty cool car. Unfortunately, it doesn't fly like the new one, which is definitely real and totally flies.
Yeah. So why would you even want to repair your old one? Just get the new flying one.
Yeah. What are you, poor? No.
Not if you're having custom-made carbon fiber body panels made.
Right. Also, realistically,
probably aren't poor actually. But yeah, stumbled across that one. I was like, my whole study for this episode was weird bits of car culture I was not aware of, because we're all almost exposed to the point of desensitization of these wacky Tesla fanatics.
So true.
But here's a guy who's a kind of wacky Tesla fanatic, but in the most classical car culture way.
Yeah, in a reasonable way, in a way that you can actually identify with.
Yeah. It's like the one guy keeping international scouts on the road.
Yeah.
Other cars have had this. He's the guy for these Tesla Roadsters. And I thought it was kind of refreshing to hear news like that. And then I scrolled nearly to the bottom of the article, and it's like, oh, he's being slapped with cease and desist orders by Tesla. Of course he is.
Of course he is.
Yeah. That's part of your brand history, guys.
To be fair, though, they really need that money.
True. Well, the thing is, I don't think they're asking for any money.
No, they're probably not.
Well, if they need money, they could possibly get it from this engineer that they're suing the shit out of.
One of their Tesla's suing one of their own engineers?
One of their former engineers. Because here's what happened. Let's see here. Claiming the Tesla filed a lawsuit against, I think his name was, I'm going to butcher this, Guangxi Cao. Cao? Guangxi Cao? I don't know. Anyway, former engineer for Tesla,
Probably cow.
Cow. Tesla filed a lawsuit against Cow in March of this year, claiming he had uploaded more than 300,000 files and directories with source code related to the company's autopilot to his iCloud account.
Bum, 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 bum.
Repeatedly logged into Tesla's secure networks to delete his browser history. And in the court filing this week, Cow did acknowledge Tesla's accusations that he collected a bunch of company intellectual property as true, but he asserted that characterizing his actions as trade theft were inaccurate.
Well, I guess if you don't ever distribute it and you're just like hoarding it for yourself, it's just a breach of the network security. It's not trade theft necessarily.
It may not even. It's probably just. It probably doesn't amount to anything more than a fireable offense.
Right.
He also admitted that he didn't tell Tesla that while he was still employed at the company, he gathered the source code onto his personal accounts, but that the company never asked about it after he left for X Motors, a China-based Tesla rival.
Lol.
According to this filing, he created zip files in late 2018, was offered a job at X Motors in November of 2018, quit his job at Tesla on January 3rd.
Damn, he used that as his cover letter.
Just tick it out.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Sorry, his name is
Guangxi Cow.
Guangxi Cow.
Guangxi Cow.
Guangxi Cow. Yeah. So, as much as we shit on Tesla, I'm kind of in their corner on this one.
I mean, sure. I don't know what they expect from me. I mean,
I don't expect anything from you.
How to pick my way around this without sounding xenophobic? I mean, it's kind of a thing. I mean, the Chinese culture is very different when it comes to IP law, and they view trade secrets, quote unquote, as stuff you can basically disregard. It's not a thing in their culture. So I don't understand. I get that, yeah, sure, Tesla may be right in this instance. Probably are. But I feel like, I don't know, what did they think that wasn't going to happen? And again, I'm not saying
that's up to them to provide better security.
Well, there is that. That's really what it comes down to.
How is your source code accessible, exportable, and the fact that all of the stuff is being uploaded to an iCloud account, which is measurable network traffic?
Yep. That's really what it is. If your trade secrets can go to someone's goddamn iCloud, if they can be zipped on-prem if people who can zip it and would export it have access to that, your security's trash.
It's not even like he brought in some tricky USB key and...
Right.
No, it was... I used my consumer iCloud account and stuck it all on iCloud Drive.
Probably downloaded 7-zip to zip them up. Like, what are you thinking, Tesla? If you leave gaping holes in your security, you're going to get got, whether it's by someone internally or not. If you have something that someone wants and you're that lax about it, they're just going to get it. He makes it sound really easy, and I bet it was.
Yes.
Yeah, it probably was.
I don't know. Like I said, they're probably right. Tesla's probably right.
I mean, they're in the legal right, but I don't have any sympathy.
No. I'm not saying sympathy. I'm just, for all the times we shit on Tesla, here's one time that I actually agree with Tesla.
Yeah, but then again, with Tristan and I both doing what we do, we know we're in the business of restricting access. It's so you don't deal with this that you restrict access before this could ever happen, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'd like to ease us out of the Tesla discussion.
Sure.
By bringing up one of a variation on one of our previous episodes, which was the like car classification episode, where it's like everybody has the best rear legroom in their class, you know?
Yeah.
Because everyone has their own class. That's what the Ring is getting to be like.
Sorry, the what?
The Nürburgring.
The Nürburgring.
Oh, the Ring.
So it's like
the Ring.
So
they call it.
Son of a bitch.
So because it's like the Taycan just set a Nürburgring record for a 4-door production EV in green on Tuesday. Like, anybody can set a ring record if you start splitting it that finely.
It honestly really doesn't help that car sounds like allergy medicine.
Oh,
Take
yeah. Now new 24-hour take-in.
Now available in prescription strength. OTC.
Over the counter. Yeah. And it has the kind of allergy eyes on the front, too.
It does. That's the first thing I saw. It looks like it has puffy eyes.
Well, it needs take-in.
It does. It does need take-in. I would love to make that a shirt. Let's turn that into a shirt. 24-hour medicine.
Like make a play on like Zicam or Zyzol or
exactly. It could be a nasal spray.
Yeah.
I would take take-in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, I did see that, but that didn't strike me that they were so specific about it. I just feel like Porsche didn't do that. I feel like that's just been a thing there.
Right. No, and it's not. I don't think it's Porsche's fault, but they're definitely playing into it. Like it's like okay, they're gonna send the IDR around it, and it's gonna set the non-production EV record, or it's gonna set the race EV record, and there's gonna be the EV hypercar record that has 2 doors, and you're going to get the 4-door one, and then eventually someone's going to send an electric SUV around it or whatever. Like it's going to be the fastest, because I just saw this. There was like somebody just set a record for the fastest front wheel drive lap around the Nürburgring. It's like you can split it however many ways you want, and yeah, technically it's a record, but
we can just refuse to acknowledge it.
It starts to mean less with every time they split it.
But wait,
as the committee who created the proper automotive classes, we can refuse to acknowledge any of it.
That is definitely true. But I do have to ask, Tristan, when did this matter to you? When were you like, oh shit, got those new ring time? He does call it the ring, actually.
Mm-hmm.
This could have been his jam. Was this your jam? Ring times?
I do like them.
Mad ring
I love
times?
watching the laps.
The laps,
it's fun.
Just at that track is just incredible.
Yeah. So I enjoy it. I'm not an enthusiast.
But this is lessening your non-enthusiasm?
Yeah, I'm more likely to ignore that story as I scroll through my news app at this point.
Flipboard, right?
Yeah.
I guess I've just been ignoring them for so long, and I don't know at what point, but I think it was, you know what? It was around the time of the Type R, the new Type R. Because people would not shut the hell up about the Type R's ring time. And I realized that number and that context is non-existent. It doesn't matter. It can't matter how fast that car is around the Nürburgring.
Nope.
Because
it's not for that.
The 167 people in Germany who bought a Type R took it there. Sweet. 19 people in the UK did that too. Also great. Still less than 200 people ever took their Type R's to the Nürburgring. And they also weren't the fastest around it. So, I don't know. I get that it's a selling point, and this is like shorthand, car company shorthand for sporty.
We did good.
Yeah, but I can't see an application for it. And that's, I guess, when I became super numb to it, with the Type R specifically, because no one in American media would shut up about something that doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, and I think that's part of, because it's such a challenging track, it's such a long track, you gotta continue that pace for a very long time in varying conditions and stuff like that. I think that when it was like, hey, this is the fastest production car time around the ring, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like when the ZR1
Yeah.
said it a while ago, and then like others have said it since then. That's like, it's kind of when I started watching
But
it.
that was like one, just, hey, production car.
Right.
Car in production.
It's like,
Yes.
like how fast can you make your street car go around, what they call the green hell? Like it's quite the track, and it's quite an achievement to be the fastest around it. But if you're not actually the fastest, you're just the fastest car in green that's gone around the green hell. It doesn't mean anything.
Nope. And here's another thing about this. Because that track is so daunting,
Yes.
like, the person who's driving the car almost matters more than the car, because they all need like a ring specialist to do any sort of lap like that. People who turn laps there like by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, because like You can't just, like, you and I can't just show up there, even if we're a test driver for a car company, and memorize the track enough, because if they're pushing at a car at a limit, it's not just, oh, the car is doing this. It's the guy hitting the brake points right, his shift points right, apexing at the right time, throttle on at the right, like, there's so much other shit that goes into that, too.
It's hard to race that track on a sim with a track map and rewind.
Yeah.
It's just hard to race on that track, and drivers. It's just fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't.
So, and that's why I appreciated the early stages of this,
But
because it seemed very impressive.
Because I'm not discounting the difficulty of driving a car quickly around that track, and yeah, ring specialist, whatever. So I just kind of call that like.
Well, I'm just saying that lessons, like, it's not so much the accomplishment of the car. Like, you just have a phenomenal driver behind the wheel too.
Yeah, but also what you got to remember is in the production car record. I mean, we can look back on that as saying it was a better time, but it really wasn't, because even then. Maybe it was probably about the time of the ZR1 going around that Ferrari went tires and started putting racing tires on their street cars to send their street cars around to reclaim the. And then who complained about it? Lamborghini or Porsche? I think it was Porsche complained about it. And then so maybe it was like that singular moment that created this whole thing. Like, all right, well, now we got to have street tire division. Now we got to have race tire division. Now we got to have.
I think that's where to me that's where it started.
Over 65.
But I think it just reached a critical point where in 1 week I read that it was the electric 4-door street car was one, and then like front wheel drive hatchback was the other one. Like, it's like, okay, I'm at a breaking point here.
Yeah, because what was it that just took the, was it that new Renault that just took the front wheel drive?
I think so.
Yeah, the new Renault.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
I really like Renaults. Never having
But for God's sake, stop reclassifying your fucking cars all the time.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me all that much because, I don't know, I feel like it's been that way.
For me, it's not a bother necessarily. It's just a point at which, kind of like you had earlier, maybe just a point at which my interest has suddenly dropped off.
Yeah.
That's all. So
they made it not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun anymore.
Because it used to be a really easy thing to gut react to.
Mm-hmm.
I think is why it's like, oh man, someone was the fastest around the ring. That's really cool. But now you have to like read the whole article to figure out which class they were in during what time of day and like
all the qualifiers and disclaimers.
Yeah. And it was on race tires and it had wider rear tires in the back than stock, and like, it's like, okay, fine, whatever,
Driver was wearing one glove instead of two. And
yeah, this is the fastest one glove racing tire, wider rear tires, front wheel drive hatchback in green from Mercedes lap ever set.
Yeah.
Like,
we did it.
Yeah,
they did do it.
So
they're so happy about it too. They partied hard.
I mean, to be fair, they're at least German, so that's the thing. Like,
wasn't this about a Porsche though, not a Mercedes initially? How this story started?
Yeah,
it was about a Porsche.
Yeah, but we talked about front wheel drive hatchback and
we went all through it. So yeah.
Anyone else got anything small?
I got something small, actually, really small.
Ooh,
a golf ball.
Golf ball.
Mm-hmm. So. We've talked to the last couple episodes. Nissan's in trouble. They're in trouble.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So what do you do in a time of crisis?
Tell everyone that you're fucked, and then the next month go, oh shit, I didn't know it was that bad.
And then you announce a golf ball.
Oh God. Oh,
have you heard about this?
No.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I have not.
Good Lord.
So Nissan just released a video promoting their Pro Pilot golf ball. It is a ball that has an internal electric motor.
I'm leaving.
Also needs to use an overhead camera and a monitoring system, but you will never miss a putt.
What could possibly be the point of this?
It's like it autopilots itself. GPS is into the hole no matter where you putt on a green.
Make a fucking car, you fucking idiots.
I mean, or even make a yacht.
Are you shit? Fuck you. I don't want to hear. Shut it down. Shut down Nissan. You don't have anything to do anymore. And you're not making cars. Oh my God. Why?
That sounds like a lot of board engineers that could have been put to way better use.
Make an interior. Have one of those motherfuckers design a steering wheel that's not from the 19th century. Are you kidding me? This can't be that hard. They're making it so hard.
This is awesome. Best 2 minutes of the show right there.
Are you kidding? No one even wants that. No one who golfs even asked for this.
I would love us.
You would not, because you have to set up the camera rig every hole. You want to do that 18 times? No.
Maybe golf courses will set them up for you already.
Golf courses, the outdoor ones.
Yeah.
They're just going to buy 18 cameras.
Yeah.
19, one for the putting green. Gotta have those.
No, you don't need to practice if you got the ball.
Yeah, see,
you don't need a putting green.
Tear up the putting green and put in a bar.
Put it in a bar. Put it in a Nissan dealer.
Yeah. Put in a turntable with an Ultima on it.
I think honestly, what I believe if I remember reading this little post right, the Pro Pilot part of this is like what they're calling their new semi-autonomous system. So they were like, it's a flashy, weird way to debut their new system. But yes,
they don't even support any golf events.
I think they do.
Do they?
How can they?
Well, yeah, maybe they did.
Keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
So yeah, this was kind of like their flashy, markety, wow factor way to debut their new semi-autonomous system called Pro Pilot. So they made a Pro Pilot golf ball.
God damn it! I searched Nissan Golf and it's just stories about that. Nissan
golf event,
golf sponsorship, golf event,
golf sponsor.
I thought there was something with like Nissan Open or something like that at one point.
Well, here's one. Here's one thing. I can tell you. Nissan is an official sponsor of the 2017 BET Experience. Don't make a joke about it. Don't make a joke about it.
Okay.
That's old news.
BET Awards. Oh, they did it for 2019 too.
Okay, new news then. Good.
No more Nissan Riviera event.
That was it.
It used to be that.
Yep, I knew it.
And it used to be the Los Angeles Open, but Genesis took that.
Ah.
So they used to do things with golf. It's like they used to make cars.
A lot of used tos.
Honestly, Nissan, just shut it down.
Pack it up.
Yep, you're done. We're all good.
How's Gosen doing?
Still in jail or something.
How's that lawsuit going?
I don't know. There's been
no stories. Now. Yeah, since that originally broke, nothing.
This is kind of how. Well, I mean, you never know in a foreign justice system, but this is how court cases go in America. A flurry of events, and then everyone sits at home for 3 months.
Yeah, nothing, and then there you go.
And then another date, and then nothing. So I'm waiting for another development on that. But, oh, man, this is... I don't have a word for what this is. What is this?
We'll find out.
No, I meant the golf ball thing. The court case.
The Gosen thing.
No, sorry. I don't have a word for that either. I immediately went back to the golf ball thing. I don't understand. Why?
Publicity stunt.
But it wasn't even... I mean, I had to learn about it from him, and no offense, but I follow, all of the most relevant accounts on car Twitter. This didn't break the news at all. I never even saw it from Nissan.
I don't know, man.
Couldn't tell you.
Not all marketing works.
True.
It's great to know that you think of me as such a reliable source, though.
No, I just saw it on a bunch on Google. I didn't believe you, really. Just reacting based off emotions. No, man, why?
Anything else? Do you want to end on that sour note, or do you want something else before we...
What time are we at, Tristan?
Just about an hour or so.
Okay, cool. We get away from Nissan into something that we know nothing about, but is a weird and interesting sign of possible things to come. Mazda, as part of their, I guess, partnership with Toyota, is going to use Toyota Financial Services for all of their dealer offered loans.
Huh.
Doesn't that seem super weird?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a major revenue stream for a car company? People loaning money through them?
I thought so.
I would think so too. Maybe they couldn't get a fiduciary company to back them anymore.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, maybe.
But is this something that other companies could do? I mean, could we see like, I don't even know if you could do it here, but like Ford and GM just kind of merge their lending divisions and
what about like in place of like a full on merger? So who was it? FCA was trying to get in with Renault Nissan Alliance, right? Was that it?
Yeah.
So what if they just, instead of like a full on merger, owning shares of one another, hey, handle our lending?
Yeah.
Kind of like a mini partnership or a mini merger.
I think there could definitely be like a new chip to be played in like these negotiations, but this just really struck me as weird because I always assumed, I mean, when you go into a dealership, they push to loan through them. Like that's what they want you to do.
Yes.
And they throw on
They don't want you to pay cash. They don't want you to borrow from your own bank.
Right.
Yeah.
They throw all these ticky-tack incentives at you to get you to loan through them, whether it's lower APR or this TV, all that shit, the grills and the TVs and the free floor mats, all this stuff. It always comes if you loan through them, right?
Free Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
If you're BMW, we'll even throw in the CarPlay for free.
Trash. But I always imagine that's because that interest is just pure profit to them.
Yeah.
Any interest they make off you is just cash right to them. So how is that a smart move? I mean, I assume they're just going to like divvy it up, right? There has to be some sort of split there. And the assumption would be the majority goes to Toyota. Probably.
Maybe not. If they have enough capital on hand to lend to Mazda, to lend to its drivers, and they can get anything out of it. Like, if Toyota has determined they have a giant pile of cash sitting around, and they can get any interest, from people who wouldn't buy a Toyota in the first place, why not turn that into any profit?
Well, I can imagine the Toyota would have a giant pile of cash sitting around. They have the number one selling car and now SUV in the U.S. and probably a bunch of other places too. They got money. Yeah. They must have money.
Yep.
Lord knows they didn't throw it into the Supra, so.
Yeah.
But I'm bummed. That's pretty good. Can we get Loaf on the phone? He can help us through this.
I'm sure we could. I don't have his personal, but that's
Loaf. Hopefully you're still listening. Tweet us back.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of this Mazda Toyota lending scenario.
Yeah. Tell us what we don't know, which is everything.
We don't know. Did you guys read up on this whole FBI raid on the UAW president?
I haven't, because I don't know what to make of it. Like, I don't have a context really for it. So, enlighten me.
I don't know if this gives you context, but it's like multiple year investigation from the FBI culminated in this raid earlier this week.
I think it was early this week.
Of UAW president Gary Jones, his home, and then one of their training facilities, and then they have like a resort ranch north of Detroit where they were building their former president's retirement home on. It was kind of weird. But, investigate the basic stuff, right? Kind of what they got ghosting for. Improper use of millions of dollars worth of funds. They were taking briberies from auto execs. So far, there's actually been 8 people arrested and sentenced in this case. 3 of them were former FCA executives for bribing the UAW.
Mm-hmm. FCA executive?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Were bribing the UAW execs. And then, interesting fact to me is that they're in the process of negotiations with all 3 major Detroit automakers.
Yes. This is a year for that.
This is the year, and the decision to strike could come by the middle of September.
Mm-hmm.
So possibly strikes for all three of Detroit's, the U.S.'s big automakers, and now the president is getting raided for improper use of millions of dollars worth of union funds. So,
well, to be honest, I don't think there was ever an outside perception that the UAW wasn't massively corrupt. You can't, in my opinion, you can't bankrupt 2.25 major automakers with a union unless you're corrupt. I don't think the numbers work that way. And according to GM's argument at the time, they were saying we are going bankrupt because we can't pay our former workers. Am I remembering that right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I know a bit about unions, but not a ton. I'm gonna go ahead and say no shit, he's corrupt.
Yeah, I think I glazed over that article because I was like, well, yeah.
That's probably part of it for me.
Yeah.
I worry that this is, I mean, we're in a time where our parents devalued the unions that their parents created so greatly. They now vote for people who are so anti-union that it disadvantages them. Kind of a weird recursive line there. But
weird circle of life.
But I mean, I grew up in this. My grandmother was a butcher, and she was the first female union steward for her local. My dad was in a union for 30 years. My mom was in a union.
When we borrowed your dad's car, there was the union sticker on it when we went to Watkins Glen. I noticed that.
Yep, Teamster. So, I mean, I know this, and I understand the good parts of the union. And, of course, I've met a lot of people who are so anti-union, mainly because they were just in bad ones. Basically, you're only anti-union if you were in a shitty union or you don't understand what they're really supposed to do, which means that you only encountered shitty unions. And I mean, whether or not the UAW is a good union is such a broad discussion topic, we can't even hope to approach it.
No.
But I think I think we can draw some conclusions from history that it's probably not that well managed on both sides. That's kind of one of the things that unions do more than anything else. They show you the weaknesses in collectively bargained agreements if the agreement is bad. You will know by the result.
Because someone will usually take advantage of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and again, that could be on both sides. It could be someone taking advantage of the union. It could be the union taking advantage of the company that they're unionized in. But you'll always see that as an actual result, numerical result. And so I think there's been no result, but there's no conclusion that the UAW has some interestingly bargained agreements.
Totally.
Like building a ranch for their former presidents. Like, you weren't the president of the U.S., you were the president of a union. And I don't think it's the Sopranos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the president of the UAW is ordering hits. I think they're getting him for some light.
It's white collar crimes.
Yeah, for some.
They're moving a little more
creative accounting.
Yeah,
a little money over here and a little money back there and a little more down the back pocket.
Just in the pocket there, yeah.
A little pocket right there. Don't pay attention to that. It's no big deal.
I just think it's a little bit of that. So I mean, this is the inevitable result of what we knew was the conclusion in 2009. This had to happen at some point. It wasn't going to just end with a financial crisis. You know what I mean? There were results.
I may be wrong on this, but didn't the UAW workers down in Janesville at the suburban plant almost strike because they couldn't get TVs installed on the assembly line?
I don't know.
Like that was
I weirdly remember something like that.
There was something weird like that. Like, we're not going to come to work if we can't have TVs.
I weirdly remember
at work
something about that
or something. It's like, come on.
And that's kind
like
of
that's your bargaining chip.
But that's kind of the thing about unions, in my opinion. There's a tipping point. The whole point of unions is to balance.
Correct.
But when it goes, corporation
but when that teeter-totter swings completely the other way, which it does a lot of times too.
Yeah. And again, it's human nature to take advantage of an advantageous situation. So if it's in your agreement that you can push for things, and it could have been something like, for the Janesville thing. It could have been something like, hey, we can push for any safety and training devices we feel necessary. That's a good idea.
That's awesome.
However, you can expand that very quickly to we need TVs to do training. We need them on the line for this, this, this. So that can go out of control so quickly because you're making the argument in one direction. But I think we all know what TVs on the line would be used for in reality.
Packer games.
So, yeah.
Brewer games.
Brewer games.
The 12-10 pitch Brewer games on a Wednesday or a Thursday in the summer.
And that's how quickly that gets out of whack if you don't have people invested in taking the union as seriously as for what it is, which is a protection.
Right.
And then you get people, politicians then stand up like Scott Walker and say, unions are bad. Look at this Teamster, he's fat. And that's basically the only thing it was like, union equals bad. And everyone who was dumb and in a union was like, you know what? I don't actually like paying these dues. And then immediately lost a ton of money because of how much I had to go out of pocket for everything else. Like, I know these people. Yeah. Y'all are idiots. And you couldn't be bothered to do the work to fix your own union. So then you elected Scott Walker because you're stupid and lazy. What?
Wow. That went off the rails.
What just happened?
Did I black out?
Who? What? What were we talking about?
Andrew, you mentioned wanting to discuss something earlier today.
I did. It's the end of an era for me.
Uh-oh.
I sold
like my Corvette era?
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
Because I sold my motorcycle this week.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's time for it to go. I hadn't ridden the thing in 3 years at this point. But it gave me a moment to reflect on like the whole journey. Because basically I didn't ride for that many years. When did I start, Tristan? Maybe like senior year?
Senior year number 1?
Senior year number 1, year 4 of college, which would have been 10?
Yeah.
Let's say it was 09 or 10, so 10 years. About a decade.
You've had a motorcycle for about 10 years.
Yeah. And it's interesting because now selling that, you can kind of look at the entirety of the last decade of my life and see where it fit in an otherwise, I mean, very tumultuous 10 years. It's interesting to go from, 21 to 31. That's a
crazy time.
Yeah, that's been a crazy period. So, man, I remember so clearly the moment that I first realized that actually, yeah, I'm gonna take the class. I'm gonna get a motorcycle, all that stuff. Because that would have been the summer after. Yeah, either the summer after junior year of college or after the first senior year. Either way, one of those two. Yeah, summer after junior year. And I remember that I came home and I was telling parents like, hey, I'm going to take motorcycle course. I'm going to get my license. I'm going to get a motorcycle. My mom's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I wasn't asking. I'm going to do this. And she got really mad at me, whatever. As is normal, I think. It's not like
motorcycle equals rebel.
Yeah, when I got my license, my grandma said, well, he used to be such a nice boy.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things. It's kind of the normal reaction, and I understand it, of course. But the next day, she's like, just out of nowhere, like, how much is the course? I'm like, oh, I don't know, whatever it was, a few $100. I'm like, she's like, well, here, take this check. Go do it so you can be as safe as possible. I was like, all right, cool. Took the class, immediately tipped the bike over, as everybody does, all that normal stuff. My first bike was a Ninja 250. I love that little thing. That was just a great starter bike, just a great bike overall. And man, when did I take that up? It would have been when we went back to school.
Yep.
Tristan, I took the bike up and we rode up there. And those were magical times, man.
That was that fall ride where we didn't realize how cold it was getting. And we came and got back home and couldn't move our knees.
And we rode to Wausau. It was about an hour.
Yeah.
From Stevens Point, all in the back roads, to go get pizza. What, Green Mill? Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah, Green Mill.
We took our motorcycles in the late evening in the fall to go get pizza because college.
Yeah.
An hour away because college.
And because motorcycles.
Yes.
That ride was perfection. It was beautiful as we were riding out. There was, just, like the sun setting and all the golden fall light, leaves changing, and the way it smells. That's one of the main things about motorcycling. Like you don't understand how the sense of smell gets cut out in a car.
Yeah.
I mean, just the scent of the leaves and the marshes and, going over the Wisconsin River, like you
Cows.
experience all that. Cows. I mean, there's something
For better or
beautiful
worse.
about that too.
Yeah.
That's also the first time I ran over a chipmunk on my bike. Feels gross.
It's as gross as you think it is.
Yeah, feels nasty. The wheel goes all kinds of squidgy. But yeah, then we got to the place, and as we were about to leave, we looked at the temperature, and it was 32 degrees. It was at freezing. We brought our liners.
Yeah.
But we didn't have pants.
No. Big mistake.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I've had moments like that too, where I rode up to Oshkosh, and on my way back, I rode into what I could not identify as a wall of rain because it was so dark. I went, "What the hell is it?" And just I had waterproof boots on. I have a nominally waterproof motorcycle jacket, and none of it mattered. None of it mattered.
No, it can't save you.
Nope.
I remember my thighs were like bricks, but I remember that my ass was cold to the touch a full day and a half later. Like it was cold. That was so bizarre. Just one of those.
I mean, was it
things.
worth it? Was the pizza good?
Pizza was good.
Pizza's good.
The story made it worth it.
Ride was great. Story's even better.
Yeah. And, it's because your lower legs, once the bike gets going, you get engine heat.
Yes, you don't really notice that.
But then that makes your knees and up even colder.
Because you notice the difference.
Because they want some of that too. The weirdest part about the ride is right as we were getting into town, the engine started to heat up the seat, so your grundle got really hot. So you were like sweating there, and your ass was freezing cold.
Yeah, as your average speed dropped, unless heat was blowing behind you and more was radiating up. Yeah.
All over.
Motorcycles are weird in that regard, but
it was fun being a motorcycle guy on campus, like because we had him there in the winter. So I would ride it. I rode it to class even after it would frost.
Yeah.
Not when it snowed, but even after it would frost.
Yeah, as long as the pavement was dry.
Yeah,
more or less.
That was fun. Man, it was just a lot of good memories in the time when I had my bike up there. All of them were really fun. Just good experiences, like just going out Saturday night, getting up Sunday morning, going for a ride, and then ordering pizza when we get back and watching football. That was always great.
Honestly, there's not a lot better for a hangover than a motorcycle ride.
Yeah, because you have to force your brain into functioning shape.
Yep. And the air is bracing and lovely.
Yes.
Especially in fall when you're up there with the motorcycle in college.
Yeah. Let's see. After that, I had at some point I sold that bike. I was like, I'm too grown up for this. 2 years. No. Yeah, I owned the Ninja for 2 years. And then I figured, I grew out of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool now.
Take the training wheels off.
Yeah. And then that's when I bought my CBR. Because I always loved the look of that bike. I bought a CBR F4i. And I managed to find a kid who had the pipe on it that I would have bought, a Scorpion pipe. I just love the sound of it. The way it was tuned made the bike sound really fucking dope. And I hated that bike. Because I understood more than imagined. I understood that I would die on that bike if I rode it enough. Like there's a difference between fun and danger. And I also realized the class that it put me in. Like the people who own those bikes specifically because they wish to tempt their own death. And for basically no other reason. And that's not the best position for me personally. As someone who's had actual chronic depression, that's not the best position to put yourself in. But it wasn't like when I was on my bike, when I had the Ninja, those were the moments when, now looking back, when I could sort of disassociate myself from that sort of mental state that I normally lived in. And it could just be music. It could just be not thinking because you're just reacting on the bike. You're using your brain to tell your body what to do in response to the machine or to get the machine to do what you want.
But that's about all it can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
It's
no
basically
room
just
for anything else.
free running.
Yeah.
And that was very nice, especially when you get the music going and just a little bit of, you can just let your senses kind of do what they do and take in the sights as you are able to without having. I've never been anxious on a motorcycle.
People talk about how, in a lot of circumstances, about how, like, well, you don't want to be just alive, you want to be living, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost, on the bike, it's almost opposite. It's a chance to just kind of soak up a little bit of the world around you and let your brain just do its thing, just be alive.
Yeah.
You just be living and not alive.
Yeah.
Like not that like separate, like where you're worrying about everything or you're thinking about stuff. It's a weird, very different mental state you get in.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the CBR, you just couldn't do that.
Yeah, you can't sink into that.
It's just live. It's ready to go. It's ready to fight.
It's gonna bite you.
And if you don't ride those bikes don't reward relaxed driving styles. And so they're easier to screw up on because there's less leeway for you to just be not even half there, but for you to just ride it. It wants to be driven hard. And it just wasn't fun. It took all of the joy out of riding motorcycles for me. So I had that bike for 3 years, I think. I put fewer miles on that bike in 3 years than I did in a season on the 250, just because it wasn't that fun.
Yep.
Just watching the people that you met when you were on the CBR. It was like a totally different world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you're on a Ninja 250, like, yeah, people wave at you or whatever, but no one really gives a shit.
Yeah, it's like once you're on that bike, all the Harley riders hate you 10 times more, and all the sport bike guys are like trying to race you.
And everyone in a car wants to race you too. Which, no, you're gonna lose.
Yes. Yes.
There was no moment of peace, and that really sucked because I wanted that bike and I wanted to want that bike. And I wanted to be cool enough to ride it, I guess, at some level. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be edgy guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. You want to be
the bad boy.
Edgy sport bike guy.
You buy a motorcycle because you imagine yourself as a type of person or a specific person when you get on it.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah.
But that didn't. I'm not. I'm just not that guy. Because you know what it is? Because I don't want to have to lay it down to get some element of cred. You know what I mean? And it really is that with sport bikes. Like, oh, you never been down? It's like, no, you asshole. I've never been down.
You say that down. What you mean is, have I ever crashed?
Exactly.
No.
No, because I wouldn't. And, all credit to me. I never crashed it.
Yeah.
I survived.
I did. So I sold that, and then I got this Ninja 500, which is basically the big brother of the bike that I started on. And it was a beautiful bike and perfect to ride in every single way. But the biggest change there was, obviously life, getting engaged, getting married, buying a house, blah, blah, blah. But also I bought a car that was nice. And that immediately stripped everything out of needing the motorcycle. I no longer even necessarily wanted to go out on the motorcycle to ride the roads when I could just go drive them in the car that I liked and also was safer.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, almost every case, more comfortable.
Yes, and more comfortable too. And you can bring your suitcase with you, not on your back.
I'm bringing the same thoughts have been going through my head for months because I haven't ridden mine at all this season ever.
Yeah.
So far, it's the first year that's happened. So
that was the thing. Just because we went from Meg and I basically apartment hopped for a few years and then bought this house, so there wasn't really a chance to put it anywhere at an apartment because we never, we always get waitlisted for garages, and then you're sitting there like, we can't have a parking space. What do I do? So I just never had the opportunity to bring my bike anywhere to actually use it I liked the 500. It had some of that old feeling, but it wasn't the same as the 250. You know what I mean? And I think part of that is kind of growing past it. I mean, I always said like, aha, I'll have a motorcycle license now. So anyone I married, that sucks for you. This comes with me. You know what I mean? And I think that's fine. I think that's a decent attitude to have, but I think I definitely outgrew it. It's not even a question of like risking my life, quote unquote, because you're mad more likely to die in a car accident than like anything else.
Yeah, I mean, a car accident, maybe not compared to motorcycle accidents,
right?
But compared to like other stuff you do on a regular basis, you're actually more likely to die in a car.
Yes,
and you do that all the time, and no one cares about it.
Yeah. But it's just, I guess maybe, maybe it is that, but it's like taking a step back and saying, actually, I like my house. I like being able to walk into my house.
Like, moral of the story here, it sounds like 4 wheels is better than 2.
Not necessarily, because
just as fun, safer.
True, but there is,
and utilitarian in a sense.
Even in a car, though, it doesn't have the same. There's no real point of unity. You know what I mean?
I'd be curious, though. I have never been anything other than a passenger in a convertible. I wonder how that straddles the line.
Maybe feel-wise. I'm just thinking, like, right, when you're just really, like, you get in that mode and you're on the bike and you're just working it through the corners, you know the roads, you know all the points, you can basically kind of drive them by feel. Like, that's the moment when I think being on a bike is the greatest. When you already know your route and you already know what to expect on the road, you know your gravel patches, so you're not that worried about it. You realize there's not much traffic on the road, and you're totally autopiloting all of the sensations of driving the vehicle. And you're just focused on the feeling and you're focused on the moment. Even in a car, I don't get that.
See, I was to say, when you're talking about when you finally have a car that's nice.
Yeah.
That was my, I've always had that nibbling at the edge when I had things like the GTI or my dad's green car or whatever. But in my current car, with its kind of, telepathic nature, very mechanical, direct inputs, manual transmission, like, I find a lot of that same joy without that same sense of risk. So, like, I can push that segment between D and Moraine Hills Drive, that series of 3 corners.
Yeah.
I can push that infinitely harder in that car than I can in the bike, and still feel that, like, you gotta hit your apex, you gotta be in the right gear. You can feel the tires scrabbling over every bit of gravel, but what that doesn't do is then turn it into butt-puckering terror.
Right.
It turns it into, like, I might understeer this one a little bit. Like,
yeah, no, I totally get that.
I might have to apply gas in my car to flip the end out and bring it back in. Like, there are still all those mechanical driving dynamic considerations without the utter fear of death.
That's true.
And I think in something like a convertible Miata, I think a lot of times we've talked about, like, what's this deal with the Miata? Why does everybody drive these? And like everything from, like, old guys to young guys with the stripped out Miata cages, like, everyone's driving them. Why? Well, maybe it's because they're simple. They have that direct connection to the road. They're open, so you're experiencing your environment like you would on a bike.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the appeal.
Could be. It could be.
So
it's a good point.
I guess just for me in the mental standpoint, I just don't think anything would parallel the feeling that being on a bike in that mode gave me. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that had its place. I think that was something I needed, but didn't realize it at the time. I think, and I feel like I've kind of moved past it, but it's still something that doesn't have an equal. Yeah.
So do you think you're completely done with riding, or maybe at some other point, if an opportunity comes up, would you snag another bike?
You know what's funny about that? Meg says she really wants to get a scooter. like a Vespa.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't know. because I think that it's time for that hobby to take another shape, and I just don't know what that is, because I like what do
The
you
podcast.
I mean, maybe, but I liked certain things about it, and I think that it gave me a window or a door into learning about like a new subculture and learning. There are many things about riding motorcycles to like, but I just feel like I've mostly moved past the need to get. That's the weird part, to physically get on the motorcycle and ride it places. Whether it's, the little niggles that never used to bother me, like the fact that you just cannot get the smell of exhaust out of jeans, really. So once you wear those on a bike, then those are your
bike jeans
forever. But a little stuff like that, or the thing in the back of your head, like your survivability goes up so much more if you wear a race suit, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like I'm done with it for now, but who knows? Really? If I could get maybe an electric one, I don't know. But then no one hears you and you die instantly. People, seriously.
That's true.
For being a bike heavy state, people are the worst at driving in Wisconsin, in areas where it would be super dangerous if you're a motorcycle. Lane crossing, mainly. But they're just the absolute worst. I don't know.
I don't have an opinion on that. I've ridden dirt bikes. I've never ridden on the street. So,
but anyways, it was a good decade, and I do think that, like I said, riding gave me something that I don't think I intrinsically understood that I needed it, but I think that I did ultimately. It's a good decade.
Good decade. R.I.P. in peace, Andrew's riding career for now.
Yeah, that's right. If anyone wants a nice pair of Alpine Stars boots, let me know.
Inbox at checkenginepodcast.com. All right. Well, on that sentimental note, let's wrap this one up. Guys, who are we thanking? What are we thanking?
I mean, I'll just thank the Ninja, the 500. I don't think that it got from me the love and attention that it deserves, because that is a great machine. I mean, outside of a little bit of stable and throwing out a battery tender, it hadn't been started in 2 years and fired right up like it was ready for it. Choke it, give it a little throttle blip, and
there it goes.
It was just going. Like it just needs that. And I feel a little bad that I just kind of shutted it up, but now it's with someone who will ride it and rode it the day after he bought it. So that's
awesome.
There you go.
Very cool. Tristan?
I would like to thank. Once I'm not ready. I usually have something.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Oh, you think of something? Well, this isn't really a thank you. This is more of a tribute. It's kind of a somber, not kind of, it is a somber thing. Posted on our Facebook today before we recorded. There was an accident in Southeast Oregon on a land speed record attempt this past week. And Jesse Combs passed away at the age of 39 from this wreck. She was she was known as the fastest woman on four wheels. She had already set a land speed record before. She was also an accomplished off-road racer. She had podiumed at like the Baja 1000. She was a constant competitor at that King of the Hammers, that crazy off-road rock crawling stuff. She also hosted Extreme 4x4, Overhauling. She was a consultant on Mythbusters. She did a lot of time on TV. Her shakedown run in this car, like the week or the month before that had to get canceled due to weather, she was clocked at 483 miles an hour. They haven't released, obviously, all the details yet about what went wrong, but just send our condolences to everyone close to Miss Jessie Combs.
Yeah, 39. It's just
too soon. Tragic news.
Way too soon.
And that'll segue nicely and give me the idea for my thank you. I'd like to thank everybody who's out there racing, testing, trying to set records. Be it everybody from Jesse Combs to Wickens.
Yeah.
Everybody out there putting their lives on the line frankly, risking their lives for either our entertainment, the betterment of the automobile, or just the advancing of humans. How fast can we go? Um, all that kind of stuff. There's people out there risking their lives for us to have stuff to talk about, for us to have better cars to drive, for us to have entertainment, and I think the challenge that it presents to the fragile human form is often understated. So, thank you.
Awesome. And as always, thank you to you, the listeners. It's obvious that we're not professionals at this, but you're sticking in there you're sticking it out with us anyway. You hung in there through another episode, and we appreciate it. But we don't want you just listening. We want to hear from you. You can start by going to checkenginepodcast.com. There, as I mentioned, we have an inbox there, or an email there, inbox@checkenginepodcast.com. If you want Andrew's riding gear, let us know.
That's right.
But that website also has blogs, which we're going to update here very soon, links to our old episodes, and then all of our social links as well. We're all over social media. We're on Facebook at Check Engine Podcast. We're on Twitter, Andrew, at
Check Engine Pod.
And we are on Instagram, Tristan, at
also at Check Engine Pod.
So please, again, come find us, like us, follow us, reach out, tell us what you like, what you don't, what ideas you have for episodes, things you want to hear us talk about. We don't have a large enough fan base yet to ignore anybody. So
if you get to us, we'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you somehow, some way, some shape. There's other ways you can support us as well besides just likes and follows. You can support us monetarily if you wish. We have support pages. One is at anchor.fm/checkenginepodcast, our home streaming site. There's a little button there that says support. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/checkenginepodcast. We thank you in advance if you're willing to actually give us some of your money. That's baffling to us, and it means a lot.
Teaser. We got new gear.
Because of those donations. Because of that support.
For next week. Oh my God.
It's going to be great.
You guys.
You don't even know.
You're not ready. You can't be ready.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. If you don't want to give us money, that's cool. What you can do, though, is take a couple of seconds to do one of two things. Please, either A, give us a review, or B, hit that subscribe button. Subscribing, all that's going to do is let you know when we post something new. That's it. Listen to it whenever you want. It'll just let you know we got something, and it doesn't cost you anything. Reviews make our podcast seem like it's worth more to all those search algorithms. So if other people out there looking for a cool card podcast want to go searching, ours will move further up the list as they go to search.
Yeah, and the more subscriptions we get, the more likely it is that Anchor will feature us, even though we're not a celebrity and they only feature celebrities. It's super annoying to me.
We're not celebrities yet.
Yet. This is the one.
This is why I'm doing the spiel at the end of every episode, man. So, again, reviews, subscriptions mean the world to us. We can't thank you enough for any of that in advance. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until we talk to you again, take care.
Bye.